All right, another day in our book, Conquer Worry and Anxiety. I'm telling you, the last 4 days, I've had so many conversations, and probably not people who've watched these videos, just people who are saying, I am dealing with this right now. And so it is so timely. And this will just be a space for us to have this conversation and to just live right here on YouTube. Chapter 4 is what we're talking about today, The Secret, Conquering Anxiety for a Lifetime. Dr. Amen opens up with a quote from Thomas Edison. He says, the chief function of the body is to carry the brain around. That's the chief function of the body. You've got this computer system up here, and this body is carrying that computer system around. Dr. Amen then goes into kind of his story, how he got into scanning brains, how many brains he's seen, what he's learned from those brains, and how trauma affects us in different ways, but how scanning brains help him become a better doctor. But one of the things he says is that a healthy brain has things like happiness, joy, energy, focus, longevity, creativity, all of these different things. And then he says on page 79, you'll experience constructive changes in your attitude, your ability to respond to challenges, and your sense of purpose when you prioritize having a healthy brain. And the question that we should ask ourselves if we're wondering if what we're doing is healthy for our brain, he says, ask yourself this. Whenever you come to a decision point in your day, ask yourself, is this decision that I'm about to make good for my brain or bad for my brain? It wasn't in this book. It was actually, I think, in one of the podcasts that I listened to. He went to his niece, maybe's school. It was a young child's school, and he gave the children a piece of chalk, and he said, I want you to write things that are good for your brain and things that are bad for your brain. And he had a list of 20, and they got all of them on the list that was good for their brain except for one that they missed. And the point he was trying to make in the podcast, I probably butchered that, but the point he was trying to make in the podcast is that even children know the answer to that question. Is this good for my brain or is this bad for my brain? He then goes into some things that you should do, and I just highlighted a few of them. One of the things he says is you should, this is a questionnaire on something. Let me give you one of the questions. He says, for example, let's say you had a fight with your spouse. Should you respond in anger and tell him or her exactly what's on your mind? Should you have a donut to calm your nerves? Number 2. Number 3, or should you grab an apple, a few nuts, and take a walk to calm down and consider what you can do to make the situation better? Which one of those is good for your brain? Number 3, right? Grab the apple, a few nuts, take a walk, calm down, and decide what you can do to make the situation better. I'll give you one more. He says, what do you do if your stock portfolio went down after a stock market sell-off? Should you, number 1, stay up all night and figure out your next move? Number 2, make sure you're getting 7 hours of sleep so you're well rested and you can make a good decision the next day about your portfolio. Or number 3, sit back, smoke, and relax. Come on, number 2, right? Make sure you get 7 hours of sleep so that your mind is sound to make your decision the next day. So he kind of goes through a few of these scenarios, things that we naturally know. This is what's good for our brain. But in the moment of stress and anxiety, we don't always make the best decision. He says the most important rule of brain health. Number 1, never lose brain cells. Number 2, never forget rule number 1. Never lose brain cells. Those are valuable, so we should keep them. He then goes through an acronym he has called Bright Minds, and it shows the 11 major factors that steal brain cells and lead to cognitive impairment. A few of these I just want to highlight. Obviously, get the book if you want to see all of them, but a few of them. The first is blood flow. He says low blood flow shrinks the brain and kills its cells. And he says, here's a couple things that can hurt you when it comes to blood flow. Excessive caffeine. Well, I check that one off because at times I'll drink 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee in a day. Dehydration. is another one I checked off, in that I definitely don't drink enough water. I drink too much coffee and not enough water. He also says in here nicotine, hypertension, too little exercise, all of those things affect the blood flow in our brain. Excessive caffeine and dehydration were the two for me, but yours might be different. Actually, that's what I did in here, is I went through and looked at each one of the 11 he outlined, and I just put a highlight and a check mark on the ones that really stood out to me. What could I do to improve in these areas? Then he goes through retirement and aging, and then the next one is inflammation. Chronic inflammation is like a low-level fire in your body that destroys your organs. And then he lists a bunch: leaky gut, gum disease, low omega-3 fatty acids, high omega-6 fatty acids, high C-reactive protein. I've got no idea what that is. Fast and processed foods, pro-inflammatory diet. So I just highlight a couple of these. Number one, gum disease. We all forget to floss at times. I've tried to get streaks going on flossing every single day, and then sometimes I'll miss a day. I'll be traveling. I try to get another streak going, but we got to protect ourselves against that. Fast and processed foods. If I don't prepare in advance, sometimes I'm making things in a hurry or going out to eat in a hurry. Well, that can cause inflammation in the brain. So protect myself against that. The last one I'll highlight here is toxins. He says personal care products are particularly dangerous because what goes on your body also goes in your body. Important. And so he has a whole list. I mean, this one probably has 12, 13 things on here. But he says, I'll butcher if I try to pronounce all these. He says shampoos, deodorants, hair gels, they all have some toxins in them that aren't really good on your body. So I started to analyze what I'm using. He actually gives a recommendation for an app called Think Dirty. So I downloaded the app, just scanned some products. Hey, what am I using? Where does it fall on that scale? Something I can do. I can take action on. Artificial dyes, preservatives, and additives to food, okay? One of the things I've learned in some of the podcasts I've listened to lately is if your grandmother didn't know the ingredient that's on the back of there, you probably shouldn't eat it. Drinking or eating out of plastic containers. It can increase the toxins in your brain. So what could I do? What could I choose glass on? What could I use ceramic plates in our house or whatever it is, but not put things in plastic? How could I reduce the toxins in my brain? And he goes through quite a few more in the 11. And so what I did was just highlight each one of those. And one thing that came up over and over again in here was chronic stress. A lot of what you do is stressful. Your job is stressful. Your life can be stressful. Navigating relationships can be stressful. But when we're living in chronic stress, the problem long-term is we're hurting this. We're hurting our brain. But healthy brain habits. Worry, a little bit of worry is good, right? Because you're trying to figure out what's going on. You're trying to navigate the world around you. A lot of worry is bad. Eat healthy and exercise. So monitor your worry. Eat healthy and exercise. Twice a week or more on your exercise. Staying hydrated throughout the day. Having the appropriate number of fruits and vegetables he recommends in here. And then another one he says is learn something new every day. Now, I love reading. Wasn't always that way, but I love reading. So I love to learn something new every day. I do about 10 pages in a book a day, and usually I'll walk away going, how did this make me better? Or I'll listen to a podcast or two. How did this make me better? It helps us to continuously learn daily. And then he says, build your immunity. Build your immunity. Do things that are going to build your immune system. You have to protect that immune system because it is protecting the rest of your body. So it gives you a bunch of tips. This is a very practical chapter, a bunch of tips on things that you can focus on to keep your brain healthy. But at the end of the day, remember, your body is carrying around this supercomputer up here, this brain. You only get one. You've got to protect it. So I would encourage you to think before whatever you do next while you're under stress, worry, and anxiety, is what I'm about to do good for my brain or bad for my brain? Something simple, but simple goes a long way. Well, tomorrow you and I will discuss kind of a wrap-up. The back half of this book is all the appendix. There's just so much stuff in here to help you, studies, research, other articles you can read. So we've kind of wrapped up the chapter portion, but I'll have some more thoughts for you tomorrow. I'll see you then.